So one of the things we're going to be doing with our town halls this year is we're going to highlight some of our clients, specifically those that we believe have a purpose that's beyond just a commercial aspect of their business and how we support them. Firms that have really strived to have a significant impact on industry, whatever industry or markets that they serve. And so the Textile Exchange is one of these clients. They've been a client of ours since I think 2019. And I don't know if everyone really is aware of this, but textile production, so we're talking about clothes, right? And any other form of textile, carpets, whatever. It's really one of the most polluting industries around. It produces more emissions than international flights and maritime shipping, just as an example. And so the mission of Textile Exchange is not only noble, but it really is really meant to have a significant impact on the larger ecosystem and the industry that's all related to textile production, as well as all the way down to the retail stores. When we go to Target or a high-end luxury boutique store, all those textiles and clothes that are being bought, right? They all started somewhere with cotton or some other form of raw material, and going from that all the way to the threads and all the way through the finished product is a very polluting process. So Textile Exchange is actually a pioneer working with industry to develop sustainable and what is now called circular economic approaches. Circularity is the new word for recycling. And so we're delighted when Ms. Rhea Pepper agreed to speak today. Rhea is the co-founder and CEO of the Textile Exchange. She is a fifth-generation farmer. Prior to Textile Exchange, Ms. Pepper and her late husband, Terry, founded the largest organic cotton cooperative in the U.S. So welcome, Rhea. Can we highlight Rhea?
Oh, yeah. Good to see you again. Pleasure to be here, and Happy New Year to everyone. I love the highlights on the tapestries and the quilting.
I think, did we, Rhea, give us 1 second. We may have.
Okay, is this better?
We're back on. Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This is exciting. I love the presentation on the tapestries and the quilts. I have to confess, I am one of those quilters. I have quilts from my great-grandmother, and so telling a story in fabric, and fabrics are so important. And like you said, we have a challenge with our current system, with the way that we've been doing, fibers and textiles for a long time. And so Textile Exchange started as the Organic Exchange. And we were focused on organic cotton for the first 10 years of our lives, or so to speak, and really learning a lot about the importance of connecting, creating a market-driven solution. One of the part of our DNA is to identify barriers to growth and take that collective action. So I'm going to share my screen now and just run through a few tidbits of information for you. So, and I also want to just acknowledge that we have, Raph is on the phone. I see Justin and Alan, and of course, Jock has been helping us too. So it's been very rewarding to work with your group and the talent that's there. We have our content knowledge and our expertise. So really having someone take us through this metamorphosis. We've gone through 2 strategic reviews in our kind of lifetime. We did a metamorphosis from the Organic Exchange to the Textile Exchange in order, we all wear more than one fiber. So the things that we were learning about: responsibility, organic, regenerative practices, connecting to the brand in the marketplace, telling the stories about the fibers, it had to happen across that portfolio. So now we are working across 42 some odd different fabrics with about 10 of them in our core, and working with the brands and retailers for them to have a fiber strategy that takes them from chemically intensive, polluting, places where animals' welfare is not respected, poor practices, into minimizing those practices to actually crossing the threshold into creating positive practices. And so here's part of the drum roll. Raph, it's here finally, Climate Plus with, focus on soil health, biodiversity, and water. Our mission, you'll notice the verbs in our mission are inspire and equip. So we work with, the tip of the spear companies you would expect, the Patagonias, the Coyuchis, and as well as the H&Ms and the Inditexes and the Targets. And we're doing something with Walmart now. We have about 425 members, and we really work with them like, what is your strategy? And just to let you know, we're a 501c3. We're not a C6, which is a trade organization where the members tell the organization what to do. We actually consider ourselves an activist organization where we're being proactive and we're being provocative and we're being a catalyst to drive the industry by taking leadership positions. So our vision is a textile industry that is actually protecting and restoring the environment while we're enhancing lives. And we've really worked, and I'll cover a little bit more about our 45% goal. I'll tell you about that in a moment. And of course, our strategy is to accelerate climate action by providing trusted data, reporting, market-based solutions, and a community that no single company can do or organization can do alone. So just a little bit about us. Like I said, we have 425 plus active members. We have over 2,442 and growing participants in 11 roundtables. Those roundtables are where we have the traction. There's an RPET recycled polyester table. There's an organic cotton one. There's responsible cashmere, the whole gamut, home and hospitality. Those roundtables are really, their purpose is to drive that collective and connected action to address those specific and unique barriers to growth for that particular fiber. We have over 200 companies, actually, plus 20 suppliers that participated in the largest corporate fiber and benchmark program, where they get their own scorecard wherever you're lost if you don't know where you're going. So this is about knowing where they are on their strategy, and then in the subsets of the industry, they get a peer-to-peer understanding of where they stand. They may not see who's number one, but they can see there's number 5, and they need to work on it. We have right now, we closed out the year with over 25,000 sites. They're certified to our active standards, and we had over 1,200 people registered for our annual conference, and we host a number of educational and online events. These are the steps. We'll be happy to share this slide deck later with you, but here's the steps that really drive the transformation that we go through. I know you're all invited to the Sustainability Conference in Dublin. Here's a sneak peek in November 15th. So you guys, if you want to go, let me know. I'll make sure you get a pass. Lord willing, we will be, connecting in person. And we place a really big focus on partnership. And I think Raph is going to help us out in this next year on really helping us organize our partners a little bit more effectively, in that, again, complex problems require multiple interventions. And so, like you said, we've got a lot of challenges when it comes to the global textile industry. So Zero Hazardous Discharge campaign is, they work on the chemical side of things. Sustainable Apparel Coalition works on the facility side of things. Fashion Makes Change rounds up the dollars so that people can invest in women's education and training. So we work across a lot of these in collaboration in order to drive excellence in a multifaceted way. We've already talked a little bit about our Climate Plus strategy, that it is having for the past 10 plus years, we've had the goal of driving the adoption of preferred fibers. So we've had year-on-year increases, but we haven't had concrete goals of where targets that we wanted to hit. And so this is a big shift for us to say that we're going to have an absolute reduction of 45% of greenhouse gases in the pre-spinning phase of textile and material production. It is bold and hairy and audacious, but I talked to PVH this morning and VF this morning, and they're aligned and ready to help us meet this goal and be part of our leadership circle in a more proactive way. We took the core fibers that we work with, did an analysis based upon LCA's Lifecycle analysis and the midpoints of HIG to establish what those greenhouse gas weights are on those conventional fibers, times the information that we collect through our corporate fiber benchmark program on fiber utilization, and came up with, here's right now our baseline for where we are where we are with greenhouse gases. We hired Michael Sadowski, who works in this space that has all the science and the geeky side of that. And we'll be evolving that further as well and collect more nuances on impacts as we move into this space. but you can see leather has a significant impact. Polyester does, followed by cotton, man-made cellulosics, and the wool and the other animal fibers. And so we're really looking at an all the above strategy to meet. We've got to go from business as usual, which would, hit us at, close to the 900 metric tons, to really take it down to that, 45% of where we are is down to 336. So it was going to require an aggressive substitution of preferred fibers, plus address this innovation gap with interesting things. I had VF is doing some interesting things on studies on the durability of goods. My grandson, I got to spend some time with my grandkids over the holidays, and I've got a grandson that's wearing my son's little Oshkosh Bagosh overalls. So they're just like tapestries and quilts that have lasted hundreds of years and are well loved. There's some things I'm sure you guys have in your closets that have lasted that, long time, a denim jacket that you had when you were a kid and different things like that. So what's to be gained? Levi's used to be made out of ring spun yarn, that was more durable. What happens if we go to buying quality, more durability, to have a longer lifespan for our clothing? And of course, there's going to be some innovation. Some of these numbers did not include the land-based numbers around potential for regenerative carbon sequestration and those circular practices. I spoke at the Beltwide Conference, the Cotton Incorporated Beltwide Conference yesterday, and really have got some strong buy-in from the U.S. cotton industry to join us in a Soils First program. And some of their soil scientists, I was kind of shocked yesterday when they felt like in some of their piloting that cotton could actually not only get to a carbon neutral place, but actually a carbon positive place with very robust regenerative riparian building areas, as well as it positively address biodiversity. So there's some hopeful conversations, but there's going to be a lot of farmer training and cultural mindset shifts that are going to be required to get there. Here's just an overview of our standards that we offer. And we've added also responsible alpaca and responsible mohair, and we're moving to an animal welfare matrix standard. And part of our conversation and our strategy is how do we make it easier for brands to talk to their consumers about the responsible fibers, preferred fibers that are in material. So actually looking at an Uber standard right now, as well as part of our continued work on our strategy. Our corporate fiber benchmark program, we're well over 200 brands. They're still their deadline. Some of it have extended it. But these are brands that voluntarily submit all of their fiber use to us. And so we've got a lot of data. We've got some of them that have done this over 10 years, a few of 15 years. And so there's some interesting trends and analysis that we monitor. But yeah, it's very fascinating. This is where we come up with some of our aggregate data of where you're able to make these impacts. And so it is about, again, you can't make good decisions without good information. So that's one of the things that we work very diligently on, is investing in our data and boots on the ground and confirmation of that. Here's some of the snippets of what's in that benchmark program. We do a lot of reports, we do roundtable meetings, and then here's, ways that you can engage with us. And, but yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here. I'll entertain some questions at this point in time.
Thank you, Rhea. Do we have any, that was fascinating. Do we have any questions for Rhea?
There's a few in the chat, AJ. I don't know if you guys can see them, but.
You can go ahead and just.
Yeah, so we had a question from Jerry Blanton that said, do you work with APQC on knowledge management?
We don't have, that's one of the gaps in our system. We have what we call a learning center that's available for members only, with webinars, training, briefing documents. But that is something that's kind of on the wish list of how to, as we have more and more people, it's like, how do we not reinvent the wheel? Like one of the calls with PVH this morning is they'd like to take some of our materials, tailor it a little bit to where they could actually turn it into CEUs for some of their people on in their sustainability department and other sourcing teams. So I think, yeah, that's something that's kind of on the wish list of not where we're not doing one-on-one trainings, but having a training system and a library that's more accessible and available.
Great. Thank you, Lorraine. Maureen, I think we have time perhaps for one more quick question.
Okay, and we only have one other one. So the question is from June Foltz. Are you able to decrease the problem of microfibers in the environment?
That is a huge challenge with the polyester. We're definitely working with the Microfiber Consortium. We have a working group on that where they're talking about additional finishes or different constructions of the fiber in order to reduce that. There's really not a solution that's readily available right now. More natural fibers, of course, are biodegradable. I think there's some work being done to work with the commercial and residential washing machines to put an additional filter there. That problem is huge. And
Wow.
the microfiber pollution, it's really scary.
Wow.
Andrea Cousteau, Jacques' granddaughter, spoke at our conference about some of the things that are happening to our oceans. We could make that recording available to your group if you'd like.
Oh, cool. That would be very nice. That'd be very nice. So, Lorraine, on behalf of all of us at SMA, we really want to thank you for the opportunity to support you and your organization. I have to say, everyone we've worked at has shared the same passion for what they do as you've just demonstrated to us. So it's been a wonderful experience for us.
And they're having quite an impact. Just when you're watching TV and you see large companies, you mentioned some of them like Target and others that are actually stating your mission and as part of their commercial advertising. It's
good.
It's an impressive accomplishment.
Yeah, it's good.
Indeed.
Thank you, Lorraine. And in terms of what we can do, I just would ask everybody, we all have become very in tune in terms of looking at, all of the ingredients in terms of when you go buy a packaged food item, you always look at what's in the back of the label. I encourage all of us to also kind of start thinking about doing the same when you're out buying clothes. And please, think about not buying those fast fashion disposable clothes, but actually those things which will last a long time. We all have a role to play here in this.
That we do, absolutely.